Well, the state budget on a halt and another budget extender given to lawmakers. We are looking to see what is ahead for New York State.
Joining us now to talk more about this is Jack O'Donnell, a political insider from O'Donnell and Associates. Jack, thank you for joining us. First of all, do we think we're close to a state budget here?
No. Conversations between the governor, the majority leader, and the speaker are ongoing. Their senior staffs, what we call the secretary level, continue to meet. We understand they've started talking about housing, even though they haven't completed the conversations about bail. So conversations are ongoing, but there's still an awful lot more to be figured out.
It seems as though there actually is movement where I think a lot of people, especially considering the supermajority of Democrats in Albany, are actually considering some changes to bail reform. It looks like the momentum is starting to catch. Do you see that coming out in the end whenever they adopt this thing with some actual changes that DAs across the state have been calling for?
The devil's in the details here, right? And so I think why they're having such a hard time negotiating is finding something that the governor and the DAs and law enforcement feel like it's move things forward, while at the same time being something that the majorities in both houses are comfortable actually voting for. And I'll tell you, the majorities haven't seen any language yet, which tells me that we're not that close.
Hasty said on Monday, I believe, bail is number one, housing is number two. And like you just mentioned, they're starting to talk about housing. They're not even done with bail reform. I mean, how long could this take?
Well, I remember a time where we had budgets that were finalized in August. So hopefully it's not that time. Look, I do think that people are starting to feel the pressure, right? We've done 2 extenders, but we're getting to the point where school districts don't know how much money they're going to have. Legislators listen to those folks, right? So I do think, there's starting to be a little more urgency. I expect this Monday there'll be another extender, and we'll see where we are.
You hear us and you hear Jack using words like extender. That is literally legislators coming back just to vote on funding the government so that they can make payroll, effectively being able to pay the 70,000 to 80,000 state workers. They can continue to do that, as you mentioned, all the way through the summer. But what about the real impact of agencies like nonprofits or healthcare agencies? We're talking about 340B, school districts, others. There are people who get left behind if there's no money in the state pot.
Absolutely. There are serious impacts, right? You mentioned the 340B, a major budget issue around this fee-for-service carve-out. 2 years ago, because they couldn't come to a resolution, it got extended 2 years. But as opposed to other things in the budget that are dependent on a budget, it took effect April 1st. So, we've heard anecdotally from a number of people not being able to get their medications, from not having prior authorizations. There have been some movement of money, and so the AIDS Institute is going to start moving some money, but that's small compared to the impact on these non-for-profits.
Yeah, we heard from Evergreen Health yesterday. They said it's definitely a struggle. They think they'll make it through, but they're kind of worried about the smaller safety net providers going completely under from this. Who else is impacted beyond that when we have something like this that is just stalled?
Well, broadly on the budget, you see the same thing in law enforcement agencies who don't know how much money they're going to have, economic development, being able to access federal funds around road projects and bridges, all these different things that come out of the budget are impacted when we don't have a budget.
And we are a state, New York is a state that needs money for road projects, especially in and around Western New York. Is there a chance that because some of that money comes from the Department of Transportation, that's not getting funded either, or some of their employees might be, but the rest of their projects aren't? We could see a slower construction season as a result of this because the projects aren't getting funded.
Now, hopefully we get a budget done and it doesn't come to that, right? Or in between in some of these extenders, they add some of those other funds. But of course it has an impact, right? Coming off of this winter and with the construction season being as short as it is in Western New York, we can't afford these kind of delays.
So yeah, what kind of power do they have when they're passing these extenders? Can they put some money towards something so that those people aren't flailing around.
They can do almost anything. Now, what gets really interesting in the extender conversation is, at a certain point, does the governor get fed up and says, I'm going to put some policy in there. I'm going to put my bail reform proposal. I'm going to put my housing reform proposal, right? I'm going to put my charter school proposal. She can put those in, and then the legislature, the way the Constitution is set up, the way the budget process works, they can't amend it. They either have to vote for it and get people paid, or vote no and shut down the government. That's when things are going to get interesting.
And as Jack mentioned, a lot of the language, the specific language, the devil in the details, still has not yet been aired out there or made public, certainly. So, Jack, we will have you back whenever we get the language for where this money, where your tax dollars are going to be spent. Jack O'Donnell, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks. Lots to talk about.
Thank you.